Okay, the Langston Jules. What's going on?
Hey, Papermate, I didn't see you sitting there.
Oh, no?
No, what's going on?
I guess I'm invisible.
What a
I'm
pleasant
definitely
surprise.
always invisible to you.
Nah, you take up the room right now. It's crazy.
Oh, thank you.
How you been?
I'm good. I'm
Yeah?
good.
It's good.
It's good to see you in person again.
Likewise. You
Yeah.
know, I think Zoom is safe, but sometimes you got to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
You know. So, and this is our last episode
Of the year.
2020.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's special.
All right, but first we get started, I want to give a certain shout out to probably a few thousand people. Okay.
A few very important 1,000 people.
Very important thousand people. See, we looked through our analytics, and it looks like there are a few cities, but 3 in particular that have been following us in a great magnitude. So we want to shout them out. Okay. Okay.
It's only fair.
All right. For number 1, I want to shout out my hometown of New York City.
Okay.
All right. Y'all rocking with me. That's cool. Some interesting facts, or one interesting fact. New York City, and not Washington, D.C., was the first capital of the United States of America. All right.
Very important place.
Bonus fun fact, it is not illegal to go out topless. So if
In New York
anyone is
City.
thinking about that, yeah, you're good.
I didn't know
don't
that.
even second guess it next time.
I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, well, we definitely have to shout out Mountain View, California.
Mountain View, California.
Okay, they have been watching from the other side of the country. And this is the city of Santa Clara.
Okay.
And it includes what we know as the tech city of the entire U.S.
Oh, that's dope.
Yes.
That's dope.
They build all our apps. They make all that money over there.
Yeah, we're going to have to pop over there and see,
Yeah.
if we could do an episode over there.
It would be
Going
nice, Silicon
back to
Valley,
Cali.
all the smarties.
Cool.
They're listening, and we appreciate y'all.
Top 3. Okay, the third city, Council Bluffs, Iowa. Shout out to Council Bluffs, Iowa. Okay?
Wow. I have to say, during this time was the first time I learned about Council Bluffs.
But now you family.
But
all
now
right?
you're
You
family.
invited to the cookout.
We close.
Y'all, okay, let's know you from Council Bluffs. I was looking it up on the internet, and there's a bunch of attractions that you can probably go to see when you're there. And the first one that I just caught my eye was called Lake Manawa State Park. Okay, I
love
checking
lakes.
out all the beautiful pictures and the places. And since this year started with COVID, I've been starting to get more of appreciation for the outdoors. So it's definitely a vibe. And next time we head over there, we should definitely check out that park.
Yes. Big fams to all of you, everyone else that's listening too. But we just wanted to give a quick shout out to our most populous states and cities.
All right, we love you guys. So, not to get started with the show, it's 2020. It's crazy.
Death to 2020.
Death to 2020.
I'm over it. And I know everybody else is too.
It's been ups and downs and downs and downs and downs and ups and downs and downs. It's crazy. You know what I mean? So I feel like people, they're not even trying to say 2020 was my year. Oh, this one I'm gonna do this.
We didn't even get the chance to say that because it started being terrible in the very beginning.
Right, and so I feel like I haven't seen that much people bigging themselves up for 2021. It's because it's humbled so many people. We don't want to test the universe to see how much more they got.
No, we definitely don't. But I have to say that I'm looking forward to maybe what's next. Maybe I still have a little bit of hope.
Right, me too. Because honestly, I feel like this is a really good reset for anyone that is, thankfully still around to, just be a part of this stage called life, right?
Yeah.
And, the whole routine of, all right, by the end of the year, you start thinking about what you're going to do January 1st. Oh, I'm going to start going to the gym. Oh, I'm going to quit smoking. Oh, I'm going to be the best, person in the world, and it's it's not reasonable. You have the same goals every year and you think, oh, you all of a sudden is just going to switch to a completely different person, a completely different lifestyle, So I feel like we should take this episode and as an opportunity to really think about that. Think about how smart of an idea that is and how well that's been working for us, right? And really also kind of think about the background behind that and why people think it's just so easy to change their life, right? It's almost like a false hope syndrome, I would say. I actually looked that word up, false hope syndrome, that we kind of keep inflicting ourselves with. So, yeah, so let's talk about that. Cool?
Yeah, I'm in.
3, 2, 1, ha!
Black Hypothesis. So I took the day off today, and I was scrolling through my...
I did too.
Did you? So, this is just a good day to take off.
It
I
was
don't know why.
the perfect day to take off. I was like, you know what? It's not going to happen.
Right, fuck it. It's not on today, right? So I took the opportunity to see, what movies I could watch, and I stumbled upon this one. It was a phenomenal movie. It's called Ready Player One.
Oh, I love that movie.
Have you watched it?
Yes,
I
have.
must be super late to the game, but it was phenomenal. It was really good. It's based in a futuristic 2045 Earth. There is nothing, absolutely nothing. If you remember, nothing to do. All right, absolutely nothing. Like, there's no prospects. The cities are vastly overcrowded, and it doesn't even look like the sky is capable of turning blue anymore. And with nowhere to go, the youth all go to this cyberspace kind of world called Oasis. It's kind of like the Oculus on steroids. And without giving too much away, but you remember, but other people might not, there's like this race to complete a certain mission. And in doing so, the creator of Oasis will give ownership of the whole environment to the winner. And of course, there's some bad guy who's trying to achieve the same goal. But this orphan kid, his name was Wade Watts, he teams up with some of his friends to win it all. It is such a good movie in terms of plots and graphics. And I just found out there's actually a sequel to the book, which the movie is based on.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, and it's called Ready Player 2.
I can't wait for the second movie then.
And there's an audio version of the book, which is great because going from like a movie to reading a book would have been a hard transition. So listener, let's check out this title together. You can use the following promotion to get a 30-day free trial of Audible. Just go to www.audibletrial.com/Black Hypothesis. Check it out and let us know what you think.
So, honestly speaking, my favorite holiday was always Christmas growing up.
Right.
And
okay.
I feel like it's kind of an inherited thing because, us Caribbean people, like, Christmas is a really big deal. And Jamaica, I'm pretty sure, if the statistic stands, we have the most churches per capita. Okay, so it's just like,
wow.
That is the celebration.
Praise the Lord.
Everybody. But all the parties are happening and people are getting into a generous mood and everything. And so it was always a big deal. But in the past 10 years or so, I have to say that New Year's has surpassed Christmas for me in a way that I never expected. I just love the idea of being able to reflect on everything and having those memories of all the things that I did this year. I make a little collage of, my friends and my family and everything.
Okay.
And all the parties. And then at the end of the night, you get this free, huge and spectacular firework display that just makes you feel warm and makes you feel like, wow, this is wonderful. And you don't even have to do anything to get it. It's everywhere.
That's dope. I gotta spend Christmas in Jamaica. That's wild.
Yeah. But awesome. What's also awesome is like when you can see fireworks and they're like reflecting in a pool of water or a body of water. I love that. You got to go to like a seaside or a lake or something where they set those off. It's so beautiful.
Really? I've never seen that. I wonder what that's like. Must be like a just array of colors everywhere.
It is because you see it above you and below.
Right,
it's
and
like
it's nighttime too.
Yeah,
so like,
it's gorgeous.
That's dope.
It's so beautiful.
That's dope. So, the science of New Year's resolutions, right?
We're gonna dig into it.
All right, let's dig into it.
There has to be science there because, like we say, there's science everywhere.
Right. I wonder where the idea came from.
Well, the idea of New Year's kind of has like, I would say it has a dual history almost. So originally the idea of New Year started like in Babylonian times where there was an understanding that on a particular day towards the beginning of winter, you have half darkness and half light, and it's the same amount of time. So it's kind of like we already know that towards like fall, we lose a little bit of daylight. We have daylight savings time. But at this point we're specifying as New Year's, it's the equal daylight as darkness. So they had celebrations to kind of like in gratitude of the amount of, or the abundance of harvest that they had for the year on this day or during this time. But it changed because, it changed from like celebrating how much food we got. We're like, yo, we did a good job today. Like we did a good job all year. People are fed. Not too many people died.
Right.
At least not of starvation.
I can't imagine that. Oh, we got to eat
The people
this year.
were fed. Okay. It changed a bit from that to a celebration around like the Romans. Julius Caesar, he changed it to become actual New Year's when they wanted to kind of like celebrate the god of beginnings. And the god of beginnings is like Janus, and that's what January is named after. It's like a god. Yeah. Cool. So it was the idea of New Year is like to celebrate a new beginning, which is what the god Janus like was all about.
Right.
So it's kind of like, and it kind of just developed, I guess, into what we think of it as now is like the beginning of an actual new year, but also sentimentally as the beginning of what a new year could be for us personally.
Okay, cool. I was just thinking about how you saying, like, you talking about like food and how people are just so happy and grateful that they just have food and how food makes people happy and
all the time.
Food and I actually didn't eat, so I'm thinking about food right now.
I just ate. I had to get full.
I would love to get some food right now, and there's all these like, there's like some people almost like animals. We're not animals, but they operate on just a very base function where if they're hungry, their brain is thinking, all right, now I just got to get some food.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what it is.
Right. And luckily, we have higher levels of thinking. So once we make it to that higher level of thinking, we are able to like take advantage of that, let's say if I was reading up on a few things about how the brain works, just to very simplistically say, it operates into two modes. Okay. There's one mode where it's like in a very active state where it's processing information. It's in like a problem solving mode. So it's taking all this information, processing it, and it's trying to make hopefully a good decision for its survival or just a good decision in general, right? And the part of the brain that takes care of that is the prefrontal cortex. Okay. And you'll usually be in that problem solving mode when you're in a new environment.
Right over here somewhere.
Yes, I don't know where it is. I'm gonna say based on the front part of the prefrontal, so I'm gonna say it's in the front somewhere. And yeah, so you're just trying to do things to make sure you're putting yourself in a good position. So think about when you first learned to drive, right? You've never driven before. You stepped inside of this machine, you close the door, and now you have to take control of it. So you can add the steps that I missed, but you have to like put your seatbelt on. You have to turn the ignition. You have to look in the mirror. You have to put your foot on the brake with your left foot. I think it was the right foot. With the right foot.
Yeah.
See, it's a habit for me, so that's why I don't have to think about it. With your right foot, you gotta grab the thing, put it in drive, put the indicator on, look in the mirror, make sure nobody's there, turn the wheel, put your foot on the gas, and like all this stuff. But when you finally like get the hang of it, it's just automatic. You know what I mean? So when you're doing like a repetitive task over and over and over and over again, it becomes so menial that the brain doesn't want to it doesn't want to like give processing power to that task anymore because there's other things it wants to worry about. So that's when a neuronal like a connection, like a neural connection gets made where it's almost like a shortcut. I don't remember if you remember our last conversation about bots when there's like a repetitive task going over and over and over again. There's like a shortcut can be made to do that task. Yeah. The brain makes a shortcut, which is that neural connection where finally the back of the brain, which is called the basal ganglia, word of the day, basal ganglia. Say it one more time with me, basal ganglia. All right. So that's where it takes over, and that's the subconscious part of your mind, right? So that's when your brain is kind of like on autopilot. If that part of the brain is activating, it's doing something that the brain already knows what to do, and you don't even have to think about it anymore. So after a while, when you've been driving for a long time, you're just doing things you don't even know. You can drive all the way home and not even remember driving after a certain point.
And that's how we form habits.
Right. And that is how habits are formed, doing something over and over and over and over again. So when someone says, oh, I'm just going to go to the gym. I'm just going to stop smoking. I'm going to do all this shit that I've been doing for years. Just like that. That's not how it works. Because you've had a strong neural connection now, right? Mm-hmm. So it can't just break in a day.
No, it takes practice.
It's something that you have to work on,
Yeah.
So it's bullshit when you say that, all right? I'm going to call you out, all right? You're not going to break it in a day. You guys got some work you got to do, and we're here to help you. We're here to help you.
That's what this is all about.
Right. And luckily, there is something called neuroplasticity, which is the brain's ability to kind of rewrite or erase these connections and build new connections. So you can learn new habits, okay? Just because you've learned it and you're able to like do this thing over and over and as a habit without thinking, it doesn't mean you can't unlearn it by learning something new and building a new connection. And eventually that old connection will break, okay? But that doesn't happen
because you don't do it enough. That it's going to take too much time to start learning how to do it again or making that an automatic process again.
Right.
That's why it breaks. You're doing something else now.
Right. I think you told me your dad said you don't memorize.
You don't memorize mathematics.
Right.
You practice mathematics because the thing is it's not like you're just memorizing a word and a definition because there's a function and there's a tool that you can use to do multiple things. So it's really a practice of how can I use this particular thing in as many ways as I can find. And to really understand something at that level, you have to do it over and over again to where you have a problem and you automatically know what you want to use to solve it.
Right, man. There's no shortcuts in this, man.
Yeah.
No shortcuts, all right? I mean,
unfortunately.
Yeah, you'll start with January 1st with motivation and you're all gung-ho about this shit. But then eventually that motivation goes away. Then what you gonna do? Huh? What you gonna do?
Huh? When you can't say no, you want to say no.
Right, like you're in trouble, all right?
Yeah.
And something more than just motivation has to be there. And that is hopefully what we're gonna help you with today.
So honestly, what I think about when it comes to the new year, we've already mentioned, we want to be something else. We want to do something else or something new, and it can be intimidating. It can be hard to make that change. And something that can help us to make that change is when we see all these people that we look up to or that we're impressed by, and we hear how they have made changes or what actions they took to become that different person or enact that decision that they've made to start over or afresh. And I was listening to Shonda Rhimes' book. I have to say Shonda Rhimes because I love me some Shonda Rhimes. She is amazing. I think she's brilliant. And I've literally loved and become addicted to everything that I've watched by her. But she wrote a book called Year of Yes, and it was wonderful. And I listened to it on Audible, and it just made me think of how many opportunities do we, decline? And how many things and experiences could we have afforded if we only had the courage to say yes? So if you think that you would like to have that kind of build those opportunities or open yourself up to opportunities like that in the coming 2021, then maybe you would want to try listening to Year of Yes by Shonda Rhimes on Audible. The link is in the description below or above, depending on which app you're listening to us on. But check it out. It's so amazing. Yeah, you guys are, do the work. We did the work. You do the work. But it's a really great book. And there's so many other books that are basically like self-help and encouraging. And Audible has a lot of those on there. So definitely give it a check out.
All right. Shonda Rhimes, that's the Grey's Anatomy person, right?
Yeah, she wrote Grey's
Shonda Rhimes, all
Anatomy.
right, cool. Grey's Anatomy.
I mean,
How to
come
Get Away
on,
with Murder.
16 seasons.
Kerry
You don't
Washington.
just brush it off like it's nothing. That's a lot. She's good.
She has good work, but
And she black. She's a black lady.
shout out to all my sisters out there.
Ooh,
But
get your Netflix check, girl.
shout out to Netflix checks. But what this got to do with me? All right. I don't watch Grey's Anatomy. I don't watch How to Get Away with Murder. I'm not a Kerry Washington fan. What does this have to do with me?
Let's bring it back.
Let's bring it back. We were gonna tell y'all some tips and some tricks and some advice, I guess, onto how to make these changes in your lives in a more sustainable fashion. Okay, so take out your notepads. Pay attention. This is the part where you're about to make some money. Okay. Tip number 1. Have fewer goals, all right? Don't be ridiculous. Don't give yourself 10 goals for the new year and think you're gonna accomplish all 10. Make things manageable for yourself, okay? Fewer goals, 1 or 2. I think that's a good first step.
Our brain doesn't want to have to multitask too much. Even though we're great at it,
Right.
we can be great at it, and some are better than others. Focusing on one thing at a time definitely helps.
And I'm assuming this is going to be a big goal and not something you could have started any day during the year of 2020. So you don't want too many big goals, all right? So keep the list small, keep it manageable. Number 2, make them realistic, okay? You know yourself. Be real. If you can't be real, have a friend be real for you, okay? The goals need to be realistic. No, real shit, because if you make a goal that's not realistic, you'll become discouraged when you see you can't make it, right? Then you start thinking, damn, I can't do this. Why should I even try? And it starts to put you in this negative space. So make the goal realistic, okay? Really try to assess and evaluate if this is something that, can be done this year or in 1 year, whatever the time frame you're giving yourself. Number 3, have a unique resolution, okay? I'm looking on Instagram, there's body goals, there's couple goals, there's all these goals that people say they're gonna do for the new year. You know you better than Instagram knows you and all about social media, okay? What do you want? How do you wanna make yourself better, okay? What is something that you would want to improve about yourself that someone probably wouldn't tell you? Really think about that.
Make
Take
sure it's
stock of yourself.
personalized.
Right, make it personalized to you and who you are. Number 4. Break it down into short and manageable short-term steps. Okay, I have to say short twice so you know that it's not tall.
Short, brief.
Right. That way you're making things. You can make it easier. It's kind of like milestones, I guess. So even if the goal is pretty big, if you break it down into short like goals, you can track yourself. You can evaluate your progress, and you're just setting yourself up for success.
Yeah, and I would say that's also a good way to make sure that you can do the second goal, which is making sure that it's realistic. If you can break it down to short-term goals, then it's probably a bit more realistic. If you can't do that, you might want to think again.
All right, don't play yourself again. All right, let's
Check
not do the same thing you did in 2020.
before you wreck yourself.
Number 5, reward yourself. Okay. Sometimes it might be something that's really hard to do. And like I said, once the motivation's gone away, if it's really hard, it's going to suck. All right. A lot of it's going to suck. When you're growing and you're changing, you're like in a very uncomfortable space. Okay. And if you're in that space for a long time, you might forget why the fuck you're even doing it. So reward yourself. Okay. Yeah. Try to make it an enjoyable experience every once in a while. So you kind of remember why you're doing it, and you can reflect and you can get right back on the horse towards whatever you're trying to do.
And when you enjoy something, when you do something that rewards you for taking the actions that you promised yourself that you would take, chemicals are released in your brain, and it makes you happier to do those things. I personally, if I'm doing something that not just something that I've promised myself, but if it's especially difficult, something like working out or, eating foods that aren't particularly delicious but are healthy for you, then you should do something that you enjoy or reward yourself at the same time. That's what I do, at least, if it's particularly difficult. If it's something that you should be able to do, go ahead and reward yourself afterwards. But if it's that hard, then rewarding yourself as you do it is not so bad, because your body will acclimate and you'll start to feel that or think of that feeling every time you think of that difficult thing.
Well said.
Yeah.
Number 6. Remember your why, okay? Like I said, after a while, the motivation is going to be gone. It might go away 5 minutes into the treadmill and you're supposed to be there for 5 more minutes. Then what you going to do? You going to get off? No, okay? You have to remember why you're doing it, okay? Remember the vision and remember there's no shortcuts out here, okay? And that will keep you going. Or it should, be better than just
be persistent.
The emotion that just goes into, the decisions that you made, okay? Number 7. Share your resolutions with your support and have an accountability network. Okay. Yeah. I used to keep goals to myself just so if I failed, no one
knows.
Yeah. But
no one needs to know about this.
Right,
it's okay.
right. But now I'm a lot more accountable and vocal about
and
people.
And that's easier to do, honestly. That it's easier to fail in silence.
Absolutely. Do you know how many L's people take in silence? You don't even know. That's why I don't believe in social media that much. So all these people that are doing big things, they took 50 L's in the background. Okay?
Yeah.
So that's what you got to do, man. You have to not take 50. Well, you might have to take L's. I mean, that's just a part of life. But share them with your support, your accountability network. Yeah. Okay, have someone there to hey, have you been working on this thing that you said you're gonna be working on? December 2020. Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you'll have that extra heat on your back, and that'll be extra motivation too. Because someone's watching me. So,
yeah, and it's also we are social creatures. Human beings are social creatures. We don't especially like to be alone. So if you have the opportunity to have your friends or your family do something difficult with you, or like you said, just them helping you to be accountable and them, notifying them of your updates and what you've done, then that will be encouraging because you don't feel alone. Just that alone will help.
You know what? I have an idea. This is off script. I'm gonna go for it. I think we should make them our accountability partner.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, and give them one resolution we would think about.
Oh, my gosh, you're terrible. You're terrible.
I'll do it if you don't
okay,
want to do it.
Okay, all right. No. I'll do it.
Sorry.
I'll do it, maybe.
All right, maybe. All right, I'll go first.
You go first, and I'm going to see. All right. You go. Hold on, let me.
Wow, okay. It don't gotta be that deep. I'll go first to let you know the level that we're going.
This is for preparation.
Oh, okay.
I just don't know. This is preparation.
Move your fingers just to make sure they see what glass you're drinking from. All right, cool. I am interested in real estate, and I want to make some sort of real estate move in 2021. I want to buy another house, maybe wholesale, something. So I'm gonna let y'all know at the end of 2021 what I did.
Okay, I like that. That's very good.
Yeah.
That's very good.
Definitely hit me up, see how it's going.
Well, I would say for mine, I actually want to see, mine is weird because I don't know if we're going to be able to do it in 2021. But okay, even if we can't do it in 2021, if we're still on lockdown,
World War III.
I will do it on my own, but I want to be able to do kind of a marathon-esque type thing. I want to get myself fit and I wanted to do one this year, but it was canceled. Yeah. Okay. The one that I was going to do was Tough Mudder. I don't know if any our listeners know what Tough Mudder is, but it's basically
it's an obstacle course.
Yeah, it's an obstacle course, but it's also still 5K or something or 3 miles if everybody, it's something like that.
Yeah,
and then you're doing an obstacle course.
Yeah.
And I really wanted to do that this year, but it was canceled. So next year I'll do something like that. Or if I can't do that, then just a regular, 3-mile marathon or something, or 10-mile marathon. And if it's not there, then I'll do it on my own.
Okay. You can find her at Papermate at 25. Make sure you hit her up. Ask her how that Tough Mudder's going. All right. Crazy. All right. Cool. So hope you guys like those tips. And now let's talk about how we can join the hype. Join the hype. You thinking about the Year of Yes book by Shonda Rhimes. It made me thinking about a book that I was reading recently. It's called The Compound Effect. I think it's a good book. I think the listener and everyone should probably read it or listen to it on an audio book. If you go to www.audibletrial.com/Black Hypothesis and look it up and listen to it or read it. Like I said, it's based on a very simple concept of that's behind like compound interest, like when you go to the bank or whatever, right? Like you have a certain amount of money in there. Hopefully I don't have to explain this too much in detail, but you get some amount of interest. You leave it in there, you get interest on your interest. And you can apply that to your life, like professionally or in your relationships or to your self-betterment, where if you start making small steps towards a goal that you have, right? And if you're just consistent with it, the benefits that you're going to get is going to compound over time, where in a very short period of time, you can find yourself in a completely different place than you've been when you started. So I think you should definitely check that out as well. It also gives you like a lot of very simple principles, but ones that you wouldn't think that is so profound that you can easily just implement in your life. So.
All right. And then for Sign Me Up, I would say that our listeners are so amazing. We appreciate you all so much, as we said in the beginning, not just the few that we
do the ones we talked to
that we talked about, but everyone. We really do love you guys. And I was invited to do a panel recently at NYU regarding disaster science and stuff. So I would say we're probably gonna put a link in the description as well for that, so that you guys can go ahead and check that out, because we always talk about, what careers there are out there, things that we are not typically exposed to on a regular basis. And I think disaster science is one of those things that there are tons of jobs for this, but we don't really talk about it that often. So you can check that out. Yeah. So NYU also has a podcast. It's called I Am GPH. So you can go to that and it'll be uploaded really soon, I think next week.
Okay.
So check that out, and also look out for us, because keep your eyes and your ears open at least for some of the changes that we're going to be making in 2021. I'm hoping that we're going to have some products out. We're going to have some merchandise, t-shirts and sweatshirts, hopefully, some mugs, some glasses, with Black Hypothesis on it, the BH logo.
I'll fill it up to here to see it. But.
And different colors and stuff like that. So keep your eyes and ears open for us, because we're making some changes and we're doing some things, and we want to make sure that you guys are updated when that does happen.
Cool. And I was gonna quit drinking wine, but now that we have
I am not quitting.
Well, now I can't. Now I mean, look at
this.
this.
You can't. This is like my favorite glass. It's nice and big. It can hold everything that I need.
Cool.
My serving size is a little larger than the regular glass of wine.
You're a growing woman.
Yes,
girl.
I'm a growing girl.
Growing kid. So I just want to say one thing. I'm rooting for y'all. I hope y'all really put some of these steps into action. I hope that you don't play it too soft next year, because we have a lot to be thankful for. And just don't play this shit soft. If you got something you want to try, definitely go for it.
Yeah, okay. And stick up for the things that you really want to happen, because we're definitely going to have to support the people that we've voted for the most part. We're going to have to support the shit out of them. They're going to need us to have their backs. Not only that, but they're going to need to hear what we need them to do, because we don't just vote for people for them to sit and do whatever the hell they want to do.
Hey,
I'm like, I need this. I need this. Don't make sure that it's all spelled out, laid out. A, B, C, D.
Copy my ballot, so
page 1, page 2, page 3. So let them know and be explicit, and make sure that they understand that you are the reason that they're there. So they need to do whatever it is that you tell them to do. So
cool.
Be prepared to work.
Cool. I don't know what else you gotta say, but I want to say death to 2020.
Death to 2020.
All right.
Death to 2020, and we'll see you guys in the new year.
Free Bobby Shmurda.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of Black Hypothesis. You can find us on all available streaming platforms, so be sure to subscribe. If you like this episode, give us 5 stars. Follow us at Black Hypothesis on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn. And if you'd like to reach out concerning any ideas for the show, critiques, or requests to appear as a guest on the show, then just send us an email at blackhypothesis@gmail.com. Join the hype.